Då drar vi igång dagens webbinar med Augmentt. Varmt välkomna samtliga, både nya som befintliga partners till Gridheart. Det här är andra dragningen vi kör med Augmentt. Vi hade en i februari också. I den här dragningen kommer vi fokusera en hel del på deras nya funktionalitet, AutoPilot, men såklart även gå igenom de olika delarna i Augmentts plattform med ett starkt fokus på just säkerheten för era kunders tenants, CSP-tenants. Så försöka höja säkerheten för Microsoft CSP, fokuset, och även då hur man med hjälp av den här plattformen kan spara tid, mindre admin på helt enkelt hanteringen av CSP-tenants. Vi kommer att mot slutet av webbinariet ta emot era frågor och funderingar, så skriv gärna om det är några frågor som ni tänker på. Annars så går det såklart bra att höra av er direkt till er kontaktperson på Gridheart. Gå via vår support givetvis, support@gridheart.com, eller då för den delen även höra av er direkt till George på Augmentt om ni har frågor. Och sen så kommer vi givetvis höra av er till er efter det här webbinariet, stämma av intresse och boka upp individuella demos som man är intresserad av att gå vidare. Som sagt, vi på Gridheart erbjuder ju Augmentt som en del av de tjänster vi bär ut genom vår plattform, och går jättebra att använda vår support för frågor liknande, och såklart så bollar vi gärna mer hur man kan paketera det här på bästa sätt, och hur man ser till att faktiskt jobbar proaktivt med säkerheten för Microsoft 365. Men nu tänkte jag lämna över med varm hand, so I will hand over to you, George. Please take it away.
Thank you, Simon. Let me get my screen shared here. There we go. So just confirming you can see that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, well, thanks so much, Simon, for the introduction, and thank you to everyone over in Sweden who's joined live here today or might be watching a copy of this in the future. I'm going to jump straight into things. Here today we are going to talk about standardizing M365 security. So with Augmentt, we have built a platform purposely for MSPs to simplify the management and security of M365, O365, W365, flip a coin, whatever you want to call it. Microsoft seems to be keep changing the name as well. But really, delivering Microsoft managed security services at 1/10 of the cost. So I'm going to show you today a little bit of how that works. So just to get the ball rolling, for anyone who is completely new to Augmentt, some fast facts. We're a Canadian company, started in 2020, so just over 4 years old now, and founded by the same guys that started Enable all the way back in 2000. That's Mr. Gavin Garbutt and Derek Belair. As I mentioned, our mission is to simplify M365 security, and we are SOC 2 Type 2 certified with MSP clients all over the world. So very happy to be partnering with some folks in Scandinavia and broader Europe. We've got MSPs over in Asia, in New Zealand, Australia, North America, of course. So really, really good to see that this is a platform that's helping MSPs and that has global interest. I myself am George Smith, so I'm the head of our community and strategic partnerships. So I am really, really interested in hearing direct feedback on the platform from our partners, and being someone who's not really involved in sales or support, just being an additional person that our MSP partners or prospects can reach out to escalate things with questions. So please feel free to add me on LinkedIn, or my email's there if you ever want to learn more, if there's anything I can ever do to help. So the first thing I wanted to do is just sort of set the scene and talk a little bit about where we are today. I've got a quote here from Canada's fearless leader, Justin Trudeau. I just really like this quote of, "The pace of change has never been this fast, yet will never be this slow again." And I think that summarizes really well the world that we're living in today, where technology is just getting better and better and faster and faster. I mean, we think back to COVID. I mean, pre-COVID, before the world went home to work, did anyone in 2018 know about Zoom or was using Zoom? I certainly wasn't. And then, all of a sudden we're all working from home. In the pandemic, Zoom explodes, and now you've got Teams and other great tools out there. So, things are just rapidly getting better and better. But that provides, opportunity for both good and bad people, as we're going to explore. So one of the quotes that I reference from MasterCard here is 66% of small to medium businesses had at least one cyber incident in the past 2 years. And the reason they use the term cyber incident, interestingly enough, is that over in North America, as soon as you use the word breach, that kind of gets into all kinds of legal difficulties. So they're now even getting very, very particular about the type of wording that they use, because this is beginning to attract so much legal attention. Following up on that, considering 66% of small to medium businesses have had an incident, it turns out that according to Gartner, whenever someone does become a victim of a breach or a hack, 60% of small to medium businesses actually go out of business. So I think this is important for MSPs to understand, because whenever you're talking to your customers, they're probably not aware of this. They think they're still the small guy, or no one's targeting me, and that's just not true. It's just that classic phrase that they're not too small to be hacked, they're just too small to make the news. And I think on average, I saw another stat now that certainly for North America, the average ransom paid is now $8,000. So, cyber criminals are going after these because they'd rather hack, 20 people that owe them 8 or 10 grand than try and go for one big cash prize. They're just going to go for what's easy. Now, we think about Microsoft, 95% of the users in the world, Microsoft is their business critical app. It's what the majority of their business is built on, for spreadsheets with Excel, their presentations, their email, their storage with OneDrive, their corporate intranets with SharePoint. I'm sure a lot of you folks are dealing with customers that if their Microsoft all of a sudden disappeared, that's going to be a lot of trouble for them, and probably a lot of pain for you as an MSP as well. What a lot of people don't realize, and this is in very, very small print in some Microsoft documentation, is they specifically say every M365 tenant needs a security configuration. The out-of-the-box capabilities provide the first line of defense at the service level. Even though authentication controls are in place, they are not the only controls required. So Microsoft basically admitting, we do not come fully secure out of the box. Whenever you're using us, there are additional things that need to be put in place and configured through policies and postures in order for us to be a secure solution. But because we have this lovely small print, we're not responsible. And so if you get breached, it's not our fault. And a lot of small to medium businesses just quite simply aren't aware of that. And so I feel as for MSPs, part of what we as MSPs and vendors need to do is educate them on that, on the severity. Now, some of you folks may have heard or read about this earlier in January of this year, but it's something called the Moab breach, or the mother of all breaches, where the largest breach in history ever happened in 2024. 26 billion records were stolen, which is over 12 terabytes of data. And it was 88% bigger than any other breach in history. The contents was actually largely a collection of other information around previous data breaches, interestingly enough. But essentially, if you look at that quote there that came from the media, it's basically a hacker's dream, because it's already got so much information in there in terms of what phishing schemes worked, who was targeted and who got hacked. There's just so much data that they can use to pop into their malicious schemes. And so very, very concerning. But also, you can see by the graph there just how big that breach was. And I think there's another stat that in the first quarter of 2023, there was more breaches and cybersecurity incidents than all of 2022. So in the first 3 months of last year, there was more than the entire year before. So it's the wild, wild west right now. So we think about Office 365 or M365, it's the number one, it's the most attacked. And again, this is some things that I love to share with end user customers, just to kind of highlight not how easy it is, but that it's a growing business that pays well, and the margins are there if you want to be in a dirty business. You look at one of the key things, ransomware kits. Simon and I could become hackers today. We might not know how to do it, but we can hop on the dark web and we can pay for a ransomware kit, and then we can actually give that to someone else and say, hey, you go and deploy this and do the dirty business, and we'll just profit share. Here's the guys that we want you to target. It's kind of, as straightforward as that, if you know how to communicate. And these cyber criminals have great customer service. If you do suffer a breach, they will send you instructions on how to purchase Bitcoin and where to send it and exactly how to pay them. So again, these slides will be available for anybody who wants them after the presentation. So if you're interested in any of these stats, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to provide them for you so you can use them in your own educational workshops. The funny thing is, well, it's not funny, but the interesting thing is that Microsoft is kind of pulling its hair out, because it's saying, look, a lot of these breaches, including the Moab breach, can be prevented if you just follow some simple, basic cyber hygiene best practices. In fact, they're citing now in 2024 that up to 99% of breaches can be prevented if you kind of follow some of these key steps. And a lot of them you guys will probably already know and trying to be enforcing, whether it's things like MFA, zero trust, simply keeping things up to date. And one of the things that we're doing at Augmentt is we've actually done the reading of all these very, very dense white papers, and our VP of Product and Partner Success next week is doing a webinar on this exact subject around an ebook that we will be releasing next month, or later this week, I should say, in May, around here is the guide to preventing 99%. Like, here's what Microsoft is saying, broken down into some easy steps, and a 10-page ebook, so that you as an MSP don't have to read the 120-page white paper by Microsoft. So if that's something you're interested in, you can sign up on the Augmentt website. It will be available on demand if you don't want to join live at 8 p.m. in Sweden, and Gridheart will have access to that ebook and we'll be sharing it as well on our behalf. So let's take a quick look at the Augmentt platform for anyone who's new to Augmentt and is kind of like, what's it all about? Allow me to kind of take you through where we're seeing efficiencies and where we're helping MSPs drive profitability. So the main thing when it comes to standardization is, who's really responsible for M365 security at an MSP business? And that's an important question to ask, because sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's a team of people, sometimes there's just not that governance there where there's a set standard and you're maybe doing a little bit of column A and B for client number 1 and a little bit of column A and C for client number 2. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to help fix with the Augmentt platform. But if you're a senior tech, you're a very busy person. Okay, you're probably getting, if you're partnered with a SOC, different alerts that they're sending through to say, oh, this is happening. Oh, we're looking into this. You should probably be aware this is happening. Look into this as well. So you're getting a lot of noise come through that demands your immediate attention. You then probably also have your L1s or interns or junior staff saying, oh, I need help with this ticket. I have no idea what's going on. Can you help me? I'm bumping this up to you now. I'm kicking the can towards you. So here's some tickets that I need you to help me with. And then you've also got, the classic pesky sales guys saying, look, I need this information. I've got to sell, or it's the end of the month and I want to show a client this so we can upsell or expand more services towards them, or a new prospect, and I really need this report. Can you just whip this up for me? And for any technicians or business owners on the call today that are familiar with Microsoft, you know that that's not something that's easy to do. That's a very manual process to pull that data, make it meaningful and accurate, and then actually presentable and beautiful in a way that, a client can actually look at it and absorb it and understand it. And then, of course, you've got other internal people like finance. How many folks are familiar with this story of, the CFO or the operations director at the end of the month asking the question, how many licenses do we have for Microsoft in our CSP, and how are those spread out across our clients? How many does this legal firm have? How many are we giving to this particular client? Has any of it changed in the last month? Have we bought more? Have we upgraded? Have we swapped anything out? And again, who has to go and look for that information? Probably the senior tech. How do they do it? They have to go and manually search in each separate Microsoft portal to get that information, to then pull it, to then build that report for finance. So at Augmentt, we kind of separate the platform in its entirety into two main branches. The first one is around that 365 security. So it's really about getting the security configuration in place, getting that solid security baseline at a very high level that follows best practices and compliance, and allows you to create that standardization. So as you're going to see later in this presentation, with Augmentt Autopilot, that allows you to complete that job in minutes instead of hours or days. Hours being having to do it check by check, days being having to do it check by check and tenant by tenant by tenant, and it ends up being someone's full-time job to implement that and make sure it stays implemented. The other cool thing that we want to add on then is we know that once we have that security baseline, it's not set it and forget it. Things deprecate, things get changed or turned off. And so you want to have the capability to alert and monitor on the M365 environment. And Augmentt allows you to do that as well. So that if there's any policy drift, so if something deprecates over time or somebody turns off MFA, something like that, you can get a ticket straight away. The other component of it is, of course, live threat alerts. So if there is a risky sign-in, for example, from a country that somebody shouldn't be signing in from, you can get an alert straight through to your PSA to notify you of that exactly. And that's when the management piece comes in as well. So the second part of it is that 365 management. So help desk and efficiency. So if you do get an alert from the security alerts and monitoring piece, you can lock down an account with 2 clicks. You can reset a password, block sign in, sign them out of everything, all from within the Augmentt platform and all with a couple of clicks. And the important thing to understand about that is that's increasing your help desk efficiency. So now someone who's on your help desk can manage 600 seats instead of 200. You can also set someone up in Augmentt and not need to give them access to the 365 environment. So you can have an intern or a salesperson, or even if you're running co-managed agreements, you can set those people up in Augmentt and give them a set process to follow where, hey, if this password reset ticket comes in, you can do that with a click of a button. If this type of alert comes in, you click this button to lock down the account and then pass it over to our senior tech to investigate and complete our disaster recovery process. But time is so important that we want to make it easy for even the most junior staff to be helpful, and also make sure that they feel empowered and that they know that they're actually contributing to the success of your business. The other people who contribute to the success of your business are obviously sales and finance, and we can help them too. So now all of a sudden, salespeople can go into Augmentt and with a click of a button, pull a very, very nice white label report, meaning that it can be branded with your MSP, or you can even put the customer's logo on it if you want to brand it to theirs, and show them things like their risk report or the current state of configuration for their M365 accounts, or even a summary report. If they've been working with you and on an enhanced program for a while, you can continually show value by showing them the things that they're doing. And again, you can set someone up in sales, only give them permissions to access these reports. They can go in, pull exactly what they need. They don't need to bother your techs about anything. The same is true for finance. We have a dedicated license report that provides that multi-tenant view, as well as a high-level view of all of your licenses. How many do you have total? How are they split across your tenants? What types of licenses are assigned to which users? How that's changed month to month? And again, you can set that up so that your finance director, your CFO, whoever is responsible for looking after that information can go in and easily pull it. So in terms of setting things up, Augment's actually extremely easy to get rolling. The nice thing is we've made some major enhancements recently, so that whether you're getting people from the tenant portal, CSP, however you want to ingest your clients, we have those ways for bulk importing clients. And even if you have a prospect, so someone specifically that you don't have access to their M365 environment, we now have what's called a magic link. And what that is you can set them up and then send a magic link, which will go to that prospect. They get an email that just says, so-and-so MSP wants to get access to this information. So hopefully you've already made it clear that you're doing a little audit, you're talking to them. They allow that, and then you're able to pull some of those specific reports to have that conversation. So it's avoiding the whole, hey, Mr. Customer, Mr. Stranger, give me access to everything, and then I'll show you some stuff. They can just approve a magic link that gives you a little bit of insight into data that you can go through as part of your sales process. But once you get all your clients in, very, very easy to configure with those best practices with a single click. that is the Augmentt AutoPilot upgrade, which I'll be showing in some more slides. It basically gives you templates that you can scroll through. There's different templates depending on whether you want everything, or maybe a couple of different checks, or maybe something specific to certain pieces of compliance like HIPAA, for example, and then you can apply it to all of your different tenants. So it's literally saving you hours and weeks of time by being able to set these up and roll these out. Now, once you've built that baseline, as I said, you're going to want to make sure that things stay at that baseline, and also monitor for any real-time threats. And so you can set up those capabilities to ensure that if anything is happening, a ticket comes straight through to your PSA. And we integrate with all of the major PSAs, so Autotask, Synchro, Halo, ConnectWise, etc. And then finally, think about the reports. So, we have PDF reports that you can download with the click of a button, and we also have a reporting API, so you can send that information to wherever you need it. So if you're using another tool like a Zapier or Power BI, and you want to incorporate other pieces of data to build, a more robust report, or you're doing a quarterly business review, again, someone can go in, use the API and the token to easily get the information they need for whatever type of report they want to build. Now, in terms of monetizing the solution, this is kind of what I would recommend, particularly for new customers. I would go in, I would get that magic link so I can get access to the risk report, and then I would generate the risk report and go in and explain Microsoft's not secure out of the box. There's bad things happening and it's being targeted all the time. As you can see here, there's 153 risky things happening in your account in the past 30 days. Your security score is only 42. Your identity score is 57. There's work to be done here, and basically sell them on the fact that, things need to improve. You can then go in and configure best practices. So that second report, that's actually a report that I would also show to clients as well, because it clearly breaks down all of the different checks that need to be implemented. And this is actually really, really good if you're someone whose MSP is trying to upsell customers to business premium. Sometimes that can be challenging because the customer may be on standard or something similar. And as soon as you come and say, oh, we want to put you on business premium, they go, oh, well, hold on a second. I've got Excel, I've got PowerPoint, I've got everything I need, and I'm pretty happy. I don't really like the word premium. Why are you charging me more? And what this report does is it helps explain very, very clearly, here's all these different checks, and as an MSP looking after your environment, we don't have access to any of this information. We can't change or update anything because it only becomes unlocked whenever you have a business premium license. So, Mr. Customer, I'm not trying to make your PowerPoint better or give you the latest version of Word. I understand that's not important to you. What this business premium license does do is gives me access to the enhanced security features that Microsoft provides that lets me harden your environment. And as you can see in this report, there's a lot of red and a lot of gray here as well for things that we just don't even have access to. That's why we want to put you onto a business premium license. So although the security posture report is for techs to kind of get that roadmap of what needs to be turned on and configured and get everything green, I think it's very, very useful to show to your customers as well. It's to kind of simply highlight, here's all of the things that I need to do, here line by line. And then, as we mentioned, once you have that done, well, you want to monitor for threats. You want to get those alerts set up. And again, Augmentt gives you the granularity to say, I only care about these specific things. And I only want to have an alert through to my PSA if it's of medium or high severity. If Microsoft says it's a low type of alert, don't worry about it. Or even this particular alert, I may not want a ticket through to my PSA, but I do want an email sent to this inbox, so where I'm keeping track of certain things, just to keep track of certain events. So now I'm just going to quickly show you the Augmentt AutoPilot overview. So for any folks who are kind of brand new to Augmentt, this is what the security posture looks like at the all levels. So you can see here my different companies that I have with legal, MSP, healthcare, whatever. And then on the right-hand side, we can see they all need a little bit of work. There's a bit too much red there and not enough green. So you want to be able to click in and see what happens. Now, when we click in, on the left here, you can kind of see there's different checks: admin MFA, user MFA, login portal branding, and we can go step by step, one by one, and begin to configure those and make sure that they get green. The nice thing is with Augmentt today, we do have a quick baseline, which is you simply click quick baseline. This pop-up comes up, and this is essentially the low-hanging fruit. This is kind of the non-negotiables of stuff that really should be on, but maybe isn't. And again, you just click apply settings, and it does things like turns on auditing and turns on Defender, if they have it applicable. And again, anybody can do that. Now, the nice thing with AutoPilot, so again, this kind of currently comes with Augmentt standard, but whenever you upgrade to AutoPilot, you unlock the baseline templating functionality. So this is kind of the good, better, best story, where the better is you can leverage Augmentt AutoPilot to use the templates or even define your own ones and begin to start taking these checks and applying them to all of your tenants. The best version is actually where you have all the templates, you just push it to everyone. So for example, we have like the sort of master template, which is pretty much all of the best practices. The vast majority of MSPs we work with, tick that one, tick all tenants, push to all tenants. It's that simple. And then you know that all of those things are going to be enabled and compliant. And you can come back and you can see here in this screenshot, they're disabled, they're not compliant. Once you run the template, everything should come up a green. So again, the speed and efficiency that you can now drive and the time you can save is huge. So I wanted to finish up with just some example stories and testimonials from current customers that we have of how they're using Augmentt in their day-to-day business. The first one, quite a lot of words there, but this was taken directly from an email that someone reached out to just because he was so thrilled. He's a Team Logic IT franchise over in the States. Essentially, what he was explaining was a couple of key things. He was pretty dependent on his third-party SOC for all his alerts. So he didn't really know what was going on until something had happened and they went, oh, this thing has happened, like we need your help and look into it. So he really didn't have any visibility into what was going on. And so that kept him up a lot at night where he wasn't really able to kind of get any peace of mind. And the other key thing was whenever it came to trying to show value, he didn't really have a good way of generating any reports. Microsoft isn't very good at that. He didn't have another tool in place that could. And so when he started using Augmentt, as you can see in the first paragraph, he was able to instantly react to 2 critical events within minutes that helped lock down the account. And he was actually able to do that before his SOC even notified him, which kind of made him kind of question why he's using them in the first place. So that was interesting. And the second thing was, now that he had these reports, he started charging his clients an extra $200 to $400 per month because he was able to come and say, look, I'm actually doing enhanced O365 security services. Here's your risk report. Not very good. I can fix this for you, but but it's going to cost an extra $200. Yep, you want me to do that? No problem. That's going to be an extra monthly charge. Here's your configuration report. We've got everything done. And then month 3, month 4, month 5, he's showing the summary report. Here's all the things that I've blocked. Here's the things that I've prevented. Here's where people turned MFA off and I turned it back on again. Here's all the things that I'm doing behind the scenes, keeping an eye on everything that you don't even realize. So that's something on security operations. Another example of alerting, we love this one again. A guy emailed us just to say how thrilled he was. Andre from Central IT Solutions got a notification on his phone when he was driving on the highway, and so pulled over into the side lane. Hopped on Augmentt on his phone. It's a responsive portal, so he's just able to log in straight from his phone, and then just followed sort of the clicks essentially that log them out of everything, reset their password, and was able to lock down that account within 10 minutes, and then drive to his office and get him and his team on the disaster recovery. But again, straight to his phone within minutes, had it locked down even from the comfort of his car. Another one for hardening and compliance. This is from Pacific Northwest. So previously, before using Augmentt, they were just doing everything manually. And so they were, it was the technician that finally was like, this will save me so much time and make me not hate my job and want to quit. So can we please get this platform? His problem was he was working out of everything from an Excel spreadsheet. And so whilst he had that spreadsheet that said, yep, I did this, this, and this, he had to keep going back every week or every month and being like, yeah, it's still in place, or, oh no, this doesn't work anymore for some reason. I don't know what happened. I got to fix it. And so, yeah, very, very cumbersome process. Once they got Augmentt set up, his quote was, in just 7 minutes, I was able to improve the M365 secure score from 15 to 75% for his first client. So he got very excited, started rolling out the templates to everyone. And the great thing for him was he was still going to bill by the hour. So again, a different way. So with the first guy, just started adding on a lump sum. This guy decided, he was like, yep, this is still X amount of hours for work, but it's only going to take me 5 minutes. So again, you can decide how you want to charge for enhanced Microsoft billing. And then finally, for profitability. Now, I was talking with Simon about this last week because I wanted to maybe use a Swedish example, but then I Googled, minimum wage in Sweden, and it turns out there is none. You guys have open negotiation for rates, which is pretty exciting. So, hopefully everyone's still getting paid in the krona, because Simon was telling me an example of people getting paid in lemons, just as a as a joke. But anyway, the idea being, one of the quotes we got is, your tool just saved my tech 2.5 hours a day, 2.5 hours a day. So, if we think about that, 2.5 hours over a 5-day week, that's 12.5 hours per week. And let's just say, for easy numbers, you're billing, or that's costing $100 per hour. That's a savings of $1,250 per week per tech. Okay. So just to kind of think about that. The other way you can kind of break down the math is that if you have 600 tenants, okay, times that 2.5 hours, you've just saved 1,500 hours. And again, at $100 per hour, you've just saved $150,000. So I would encourage anyone who's not using Augmentt today or is beginning to use it, that's a really important metric to track, to try and find out, like, how much time were we spending manually configuring and monitoring M365, and how much time are we saving? And what does that mean for our business? Does that mean now that we don't have to hire another technician for the next year? Does that mean that we can put that money towards additional services, marketing, raises for people, more office space, whatever it is? The options are there. There's never any shortage of choices for things to spend money on. We're here today to give you something that can help you save money, as well as keep your staff happy. So with that, I think we're pretty much at time. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for joining and for your time. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Happy to answer them. And I know that the Gridheart team will be reaching out for anyone who's interested. And like I said, my email, my LinkedIn, feel free to reach out to me directly. And we do have that educational webinar next week for anyone who's interested as well.